Hello and welcome back to the Midlands Gaming Spotlight. Tom here again, and this week we're talking about communities and content creation in the region. As more and more games go on about shared experiences and live services and multiplayer components that are so big you don't know what to do with them, communities are vital to games these days, and so is content creation. A game can live and breathe or die on the community around it and the kind of content people make around it. And that's something that Chay Longdin, our guest this week, knows all too much about. He's a community producer over at Rare, and we're going to talk to him about the work he does. Hey everyone, editing Tom here, taking over from past Tom. Just to let you guys know that there's going to be no proper video this week. The video messed up in the recording process. We didn't find out until long after the interview was concluded. We'd already redone it as well, and the point is we've got the audio, so you're still going to be able to hear Chay's amazing thoughts and experiences in the industry. So with that being said, you're going to be able to see me and a pretty picture of Chay. Look at this handsome devil, and there'll be a bit of gameplay for Sea of Thieves as well. With that being said, let's get back to the episode. Hope you all enjoy it. Right, hello, and today we're joined by a very special guest. It's Mr. Chay Longdin, who is a community producer at Rare, I do believe.
I am indeed. Yes, that's correct.
Fantastic. So you do a lot of work with Rare, and you do a lot of work for yourself on Twitch and YouTube because you're a content creator as well.
Yes.
To begin with, let's start with your industry side, and can you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got involved in it?
So I am the community producer for Rare, so I look after content creators and streamers, anything that falls under those kind of parameters really across the whole company. So I run, for example, the Sea of Thieves partner program and the Sea of Thieves creator program, two very different things. The creator program has probably about 50,000 members, something like that. Okay. Whereas the partner program, which is kind of like the more, I guess like the more active, the more bigger people, the people that pull in the numbers and all this kind of stuff. They're the people that live under our partner program who have we have about 50 to 60 people in there at the moment as well.
Okay, that's a pretty decent number then.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Ah, another new face. That was quite the celebration when you arrived. I'm not surprised you don't remember it. The Pirate Lord told me to expect you. I hope you are prepared for the adventure that awaits and the danger.
So, yeah, when it comes to getting in the industry, there's many ways to get in the industry. Don't feel definitely. Like you can't. For example, mine traces back to me waving at somebody once. It's pretty much where mine goes all the way back to. I waved at somebody at a gaming convention once, and 2 years later, I work for the company.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
It all starts networking, I guess, is the way to do it. Start conversations. If you're at these places, go and speak to people. I mean, it's the best way of getting in. Like,
there's networking and then just staring at people going like, hi.
Yeah, so I mean, it's the guy that is now my manager who was taking a picture of a line of people. And I was at a gaming convention as press/creator at the time, and I saw him taking the picture and I waved at him. And he came over and chatted, and that's kind of where it started, basically. So,
brilliant.
I waved at a guy and got in the gaming industry, so just think how you can do it. So.
Okay, brilliant. So, with that being said, because you do a lot of community work, how, do you agree that building communities is vital to games these days? Like, you see a lot of live service games, especially, 100%. That can live and die in their communities.
100%. The gaming industry is so much larger than it used to be. Back before communities weren't really a thing. Well, they were a thing, but they weren't as
prominent,
vocal, and obvious as they are nowadays. And the gaming industry has obviously exploded into what it is now. It's one of the biggest entertainment industries, if not the biggest now.
Oh yeah, it's
and communities can make or break a game in good and bad ways.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Everyone's heard of cancel culture nowadays, and it's unfortunate that affects the gaming industries as well. But 100%, yeah, communities are so important when it comes to games, especially like you say nowadays. A lot of games are games of service. So a lot of games are online, or have online features in some manner. So being able to share that with the community and have a community back that, it can make a game last longer or live longer than what a company may have first seen. I mean, just look at Fall Guys.
Oh yeah, that's exploded.
One of the simplest games. Like, it's so simple, but it just exploded, and the community got behind it, and now it's
and now
one of the biggest games on Twitch.
Now brands are fighting to get their product placement in the game.
Exactly. You know, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of people watching it every day. It's got millions of people following it now on socials, and it's been out for what, like a month? Realistically, it's been out
a couple of weeks
for everybody, a month, and it's exploded. So it's just goes to show what a community can do for the positive of a game. So
brilliant. So we can narrow it a bit more down to communities in your field of, like, you know, in your work. You just said you have the creator program and the partner program for Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more, like, about the community work you do with Rare? Like, is there anything more you can dive into it about?
So I focus specifically on those two groups. We do obviously have a community team which work on Twitter and Facebook and whatever. But I focus primarily on those who are creators in some manner. So, for example, our creator program, we run competitions. You know, they'll have access to certain things that just a regular person may not. But, you know, anyone can join the creator crew as long as you have basically a YouTube or a Twitch channel, basically something you can link to it. Anyone can join it.
Yeah.
And then you've got the partner programs that we run. So we run that like a daily thing. So there's always something going on. I mean, there's regularly Twitch drops. They'll see things before the wider base of people can. You know, they almost have a direct hand in the making of the game. You know, things like we'll come up with, so if there's an idea or something, we can pose it to the partners, and if they go, that sounds awesome, then great. But we take constructive feedback from them as well. So, you know, they have a direct line essentially with the company that makes the game that they play. So,
okay, cool. So then, like, in a sense, the community, on a wider perspective, like if they have an issue and if a content creator agrees with them, they can bring that issue to you and your team, and then you can pass it on to whoever needs passing it on to.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So, you know, so for example, our partners may be a voice for a wider part of the community. So, you know, they'll hear things from their community, which then comes down to them, who are like our close-knit community, who then comes to us, and then we'll either act upon it or not. So yeah, it's definitely, it's a very cool, very, very like active, very social community that we've got in Sea of Thieves. They're like an awesome bunch of people. Everyone, they all are. So
brilliant. And so I guess that sort of rolls into my next question, because I was going to ask like what the best aspect of the Sea of Thieves community is, and I presume obviously it's a very social community. That's probably a big aspect in itself that's really good, because the whole game is obviously about having a crew and being social and plundering the seas.
So, you know, the kind of like the unofficial slogan, it's sort of the official one as well, but it's tools, not rules. So, you know, we build tools for people to use. We don't apply rules to them. So, excuse me.
That's all right. Sorry, take your time.
The community will then take it upon themselves to go and do whatever they want with those particular rules, whether they want to, you know, make something out of it or use it to benefit themselves in some manner, whether that's going off and pirating your next door neighbor, or, you know, you can see sailing next to you, whatever. Like, it's yeah, they're a very, very creative bunch, our communities. They're very creative and very they're very welcoming as well. There's, you know, while it is a pirate game and you may spend hours grinding up loads of plunder, and then someone sails over and steals it all from you, the majority of the time there's still there's still
an inclusive element to it.
But yeah, so, you know, there's still the nice element to it. You may completely face roll a crew, but, you know, people will often still throw around the GGs, which is nice.
Yeah,
so.
It's all in good spirit, which is, you know, one of the better things you'd expect.
Yeah, you have to accept it's still a pirate game.
And pirates gonna pirate.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So let's talk a little bit now about your personal content creation as well, because you do a lot of, like I said, Twitch streaming, you do some YouTube work as well.
Yep.
With your Twitch stuff specifically, is there a particular kind of game that you like to make content about, like you like to stream?
So I'm a variety streamer, so it comes and goes depending on what I'm feeling for that particular day.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough, yeah.
But there is like an overarching say overarching. There's a regular occurrence on the channel, which is like survival games. So I have like a Tuesday slot with a friend of mine I've known for years, and we play a survival game of some kind. It tends to rotate around. So The Forest was probably our biggest one. Currently playing Grounded.
Grounded, yeah, that came out the other week, didn't it? So is it on early access or is it full release? Can't remember.
So it's technically early access, but anyone can grab it. So, but that's really good fun. So there's a lot of survival kind of games because they're the ones that create. I find the best content. They're the ones that create the best moments.
Yeah, the tension in and of itself, like exploring the world, that something can go
exactly
wrong.
Yeah. I mean, there's many games that you play which, they create moments perfectly fine, but they're always partly scripted. They're always going to happen, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the survival games, they're always sandbox. There's always an element to it that you have no idea what's behind the next tree or whatever. So it makes it that little bit more kind of exciting for people to watch as well. But it also makes it exciting to play. So they tend to be the most regular ones, and then things will drop in with various like stupid games, silly simulation games, for example, that are churn out regularly and things. It's just a quite wide variety. There's not particularly one type that I ever stick to. But
yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. A little bit on the content creation side as well is that a lot recently has been going on, especially on the Twitch side, with legal issues and content and DNCA structure. And have you ever sort of like faced any legal issues yourself, like content creation claims or anything? Because I know that's always a big issue with content creators.
Yeah, it is. Nothing like substantial. I've had the odd flag of a piece of music that at the time of editing, you don't realize that it's any form of copyright or anything like that. So, but it's an easy fix. It's just really annoying. Like, it's a very irritating thing to have to deal with. And Twitch has clamped down on it now, which is fine. It was always going to happen.
Yeah.
There's ways around it. You can just go and find copyright music, or you can go and find a particular like independent artist that you happen to like the music of. This is exactly what I did. Contact them and just ask them, are you okay with me doing this if I credit you and whatever? And usually they're completely fine. They're completely fine for you to do that kind of thing. But yeah, it's always been a thing. It's been a thing for as long as I can remember on YouTube. And they clamped down on it, obviously, a lot harder a couple of years back. But and then obviously Twitch recently as well. To the stream. Okay, that's not enough throttle. Oh. Okay. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh, I clipped through trees. Okay, this is good. This is good. This is progress. We're going home, guys. We're going home. Get out of the way. We're going home, everybody. Right, so I used to live. Right, this house here. All of this is actually conifers. I basically lived pretty much right about here. Except for the houses weren't all attached like this. They were all detached. So this, hang on, where's the parking brake? There we go. So this house here, there's a big set of like conifer trees here. These two houses is one house. Then there's a gap. So these... Yeah, I've never had anything substantial. It's only ever been the odd copyright claim, which sometimes you can dispute because you know outright that it's not the person's who's claiming it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you see one of the big names pop up, like if Universal pops up or whatever, and
then
you don't just leave it.
Yeah, just leave it.
Just get rid of it.
Just casually walk away.
I mean, each platform has their own methods at helping the creator. Some of them aren't great, but for example, YouTube's will identify the exact point of where they are. So you can either use YouTube's inbuilt music replacer, but that then obviously will remove all audio. So half the time it's a lot better just delete and re-render it, just change it yourself. And then Twitch has its own one where it just mutes the VODs. So while you're watching it live, it's never so much of an issue. But the VOD side of it will get muted. However, nowadays, it's best just not to bother playing any copyright music because they can clamp down on you and ban you from Twitch while you're live, which you obviously don't want. So
no.
Best thing to do is just avoid it entirely.
Okay. So with that being said, I want to go a bit more now, just like general gaming stuff, because the whole idea of the project is to shine a spotlight on the industry in both the East and West Midlands. And a question I've been asking some other people is what sort of knowledge they have about other developers and studios in the region. And I'm going to get that question to you. Like, is there any like particular studios or developers you're familiar with from the areas?
So there's a couple. So I'm not quite sure how many people are aware, but Leamington Spa.
Oh yeah, big old hub.
It's the big hub in the UK of where all of them are. So I mean, Rare is just outside Twycross, and then you've got people like, I believe Ubisoft's down there. You've got Playground Games. You've got Codemasters.
Yeah,
and then a number of independent people who are all in Leamington Spa. So. Which is surprising because you expect them to be in somewhere like Birmingham, which is very central. Or
you would expect that.
Somewhere around those kind of areas, Birmingham, Nottingham, whatever. I mean, there are developers there, but the main hub is that of Leamington, which is bizarre because it's Leamington, right? Well,
I've been to Leamington a few times, and it's a lovely little town, but you wouldn't think it's such a big hub of the gaming industry. Just looking at it, especially when you look at the office. I've been to the office of Playground Games, been outside there. And you look at it, it's just a plain old building, and you wouldn't tell it's Playground Games.
Usually are.
Yeah, you wouldn't tell it's Playground. You should literally go right up to the door and see a plaque that's like this big.
Yeah. So a lot of studios won't like broadcast that that's them. Sometimes it's a bit weird because it's like, well, you're the only like build. Like for example, Rare doesn't have any signs that state that it's Rare. Even on the outside, there's no big R or anything like that, which is strange because it's the only building there. Like you know, it's very out of the way. You have to drive up a long thing to get there. So it's like, oh, why won't you have a sign there? Because but I can understand in larger places because they don't want people congregating.
Exactly.
Pestering staff or whatever. It's completely understandable. But yeah, it's that's one of the main hubs. I mean, it's quite difficult because Rare has got a huge heritage behind it, and we're part of Xbox. We're one of Xbox's first-party studios, so we regularly get before COVID, first-party studios coming to the studio. So like people from Ninja Theory, like Mojang or Mojang, however you want to pronounce it, they would appear every now and then, and it's sort of like, hello, I don't know where you're from because we always get people here, and it's you hear, oh, you're Ninja Theory, okay, and then you'll find out that there's some that are actually from, you've got some US people have come over and like Obsidian's come over and whatever, and it's sometimes you just lose track about. So you said there's like, right, so you're UK based or have you flown here or whatever, and you just
like, are you down the road or are you across the pond?
Literally, yeah. So because you'll often find that most studios know each other in some manner, especially in Xbox. Like Xbox studios they're very tightly knit. Like there's always cross work going on in some manner that half the time you don't really know who's from who. Not in a bad way. It's just there's so many people.
Yeah.
that you just kind of just say hello. you just start from there, really.
Yeah, just say hello, smile and wave, carry on.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's a very, very tight knit industry. Definitely is. You tend to find like if you've got into one of the studio, you've pretty much got a doorway into most other studios as well. So.
Yeah. So with that being said, is there a particular developer that you're a fan of, excluding Rare, because let's face it, you already work with them, you've already got to be a big fan of them in the first place. Just to narrow it down ever so slightly more,
go on.
West Midlands-based studio.
Oh, blimey.
You got, get that brain working.
Oh, God. See, I can't really... I mean, that's the Midland-based studios. It's like, I don't really play that many games that they would make. Like, Playground is primarily Forza. I don't really play racing games.
That's fair.
Ubisoft, I don't really know what the one in the Midlands actually develop. I'm not entirely sure.
Leamington have done. They're like a subsidiary studio that does like assistance work basically. So they've assisted other big Ubisoft studios on like Far Cry, Watch Dogs, The Division, stuff like that.
I don't really play Codemasters yet. Probably Ubi then, I'd say. Like I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Ubi. They often make a very, very good first game in a series, and then they just kind of
that's
continuously make. But it's no, I'd probably say Ubi. They have got some insanely good games. they've made. Like, I love most, like, the Far Cry games are wicked.
So they made some really good games in there because Ubisoft Limited used to be Freestyle Games, and they're the guys who made DJ Hero. And later on, when Activision brought them out, they made Guitar Hero Live.
Oh yeah,
and it's funny. Guitar Hero Live, for all the flack it's got, was actually a really fun game just because of the interactive audience element. Like you could see people like booing, cheering or booing. And it's even more funny.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
it's even more funnier when I look in the background of a couple of songs. I have to squint ever so slightly, and I can see myself just in the corner.
Oh really?
yeah. A few years ago, I had a side gig working on a couple of songs for the background audience, and then like you'd get a video, you pause it still, right in the bottom corner, right.
You just see yourself stood there,
just there, like, oh yeah, it's me. There.
And then you spend 20 minutes trying to pick your name out of the credits, right? One of those kind of things.
I don't even know if I'm in the credits, to be fair. I've got no idea.
You probably are. I think they usually credit everyone for anything, so
probably.
But I'd say Ubi then. Like, I was a huge fan of Assassin's Creed, and I love the Far Cry games, so yeah, it's probably them.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It means I've got like a pretty diverse selection so far. Like, 'cause I've had one guy go on about Bulkhead Interactive up in Derby. Like, he was quite fond of them. Another guy go on about Codemasters quite a bit. So if you like go on about Ubisoft, it's like, it's quite decent even spread, even though two of them are basically next door neighbours.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, brilliant. Well, that about covers it from my end. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add.
No, nothing from me.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you again ever so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
No problem at all. Anytime.
So, huge thank you there to Chay for taking the time out to tell us all about the work he does for Rare. He's a really, really great guy making some amazing stuff for one of the biggest developers in the region. And be sure to go check out his Twitch as well because he does some really, really good streams on there. So, with that being said, I'm going to enjoy one of Rare's games, and I'll see you all next time.